What is going on, dudes and dudettes, gamers and gamettes, lads and lassies? Welcome back to another episode of Games and Gamers. Danger is not here today, so I guess it's Game and the Better Gamer. I am joined today because always in a pinch, I have somebody else who's played video games for a long time, longer than I've been around. I've got my dad. Hey, Dad.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine.
What have you done today?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Yeah, I wish I was that lucky.
Went to town and ate. That's about it.
I worked today. Okay, let me rephrase. I was at work today. It was such a leisure day. We got everything done, and we spent like the first 2 hours of the day just kind of goofing off. It's that kind of day.
I figured Saturday.
I mean, some Saturdays we're busy. Some days we are.
Kind of figured you would be this week.
No, it was slow. It was very slow. Like I said, we spent the first 2 hours kind of doing nothing, just sitting around chatting. We'd work for 2 hours. We'd work for an hour. Then we had break time for another hour. Then we had lunch. Then we worked till lunch. Then we were on lunch till 11 till like 12:30. Then we kind of messed around till 2 o'clock. And then the final hour we really worked and got everything cleared out.
Just the two of you?
There were 3 of us.
3.
Yeah. But nothing? Any fun gaming going on recently? It's been a few months since you've been on here.
I recently bought a new copy of Ocarina of Time.
Ocarina. It's Ocarina.
I like the way I say it better.
But that makes you sound...
I've been saying it for longer than you've been around, probably.
I know that, but that doesn't make it right.
It makes it stick in my head.
More than Ocarina?
Yeah.
It's
We're talking about the letter O. Who cares?
the word. Would you rather me say Macy Feet? We know it's Mass Effect, but would you rather me say Macy Feet? Also, it's been 5 months since you've been on here.
Well, I had a stupid thought yesterday.
Okay.
The name Ivan. Ivan.
Yeah.
What about the name Evan? It's Evan.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be pronounced Evan instead of Evan? Because
I
Ivan is Ivan.
Ivan?
Long I versus the short I. Long E versus the short E. Use short in one, long in the other.
Yeah. Names are dumb. You know, you can have...
Random stupid thought for the day.
I mean, you can have... any name can be pronounced any way you want, or spelled any way you want anymore. Look at what's Elon Musk's son is like Kyle, is what it translates to, but it's like an A with that weird E thing connected to it, what it's.
I don't know and don't want to. Apparently,
I'm not genuinely.
So anyways, yes, I played the Ocarina of Time lately. Just finished it this morning.
It's whatever that is. X.
I don't have my eyes on. I can't see.
It's X with an A connected to an E. Then it's A dash, I guess, Roman numeral 12. XII. Which I think translates to like, I could be wrong, but I think it translates to like Kyle. Is what it's supposed to translate to. I hope that's not the case. But yeah, Legend of Zelda, I'll be playing that soon. Probably in the next month or so once everything shifts over.
Probably the first time I played it 10, 12 years.
You said
it's been a long time ago. I had a copy that just disappeared. Never found it.
I mean, that's how video games typically are. I had my DS games that whenever I kept my DS after I gifted it to, niece, and I don't know where the ones I had. I don't know where they went. Those are the ones like Yu-Gi-Oh, my Kingdom Hearts games. The ones I put the most hours in, I was going to keep, and they just.
You'll stumble across them when you get senile like me.
Probably.
I'll probably stumble across my copy someday.
I don't.
Of Zelda.
You'd think so whenever we moved that we would have.
I think that's where I lost it.
I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't ever remember you playing that. The only one I remember was, I think I told you, it was Chris playing possibly Wind Waker, I think is what it was. Like, my whole life, that's the only Legend of Zelda, 3D Zelda I ever... And I don't know if it was us playing it or Chris, and that's all I'm thinking is... Because I looked at it, and that's 100% what I remembered.
I don't know. I would have thought I'd have played it in your lifetime.
I mean, you played 7.
I don't even know when it came out. I don't even know how old it is.
Yeah, probably 95. If I had to take a guess.
I may have played it when you was just a baby then. That may be the last time. Hey, it could be almost 20 years.
Oh, 98.
It could be almost 20 years since I played that game then.
Probably.
But you knew I had a copy of it, or if you just remember me talking about it.
I remember you talking about Zelda. Like I said,
But you don't ever remember seeing the copy.
No. Well, it's a Nintendo 64. I haven't really been paying much attention to it until the past year.
Well, it hadn't been hooked up in 10 years.
Yeah, I think I played it whenever I was 5 or 6. It was like some Star Wars racing game we had. Because I remember we had a Star Wars helmet.
I had both games at the same time. So whenever that was, I had Zelda. I had both of them.
Yeah, that's all I remember is that.
Because that's the last time we played it. It's one of the few games I ever got your mother to play.
What, Zelda?
Racing.
The Star Wars?
Yeah.
Never knew that. You know what? We could actually do an episode of just talking about her and her dislove of video games, honestly.
What was that one she was telling us that she played that was Doom? She was telling us she played Doom on the computer.
And it wasn't Doom.
And it wasn't Doom.
I have somewhere in here. It's like Legend of Doom or something like that.
Something way different than what gamers know.
Yeah, it had the name Doom in it, and so she was 100% steadfast that it's Doom. Mom, it's not Doom. No, it's Doom. It has Doom in the name. Let's see. It's in here somewhere. Did I text you or did I text it to her?
I don't remember.
But I want to say it was like Legend of Doom.
That sounds right.
Nope, that's a song. I'm gonna find it later. But we saw it, and it was some like a what was that kind of thing? It was a point and click game, but it wasn't point and click, like to that kind of degree.
Oh, I never really looked at your screenshots of what the game type was.
It's
like.
one of those like the kind of side scrolling thing. Like you click left, you can kind of go left and look at it. Like you pan to the left, you click to the right, you pan to the right, stuff like that. And you have your inventory down here. You click and drag stuff to it. Legacy of Doom? It's had Doom in it.
I don't know. I think we're spending too much time worrying about.
You're not wrong, but now this is going to bother me. But you've played that, and so I'm thinking about it because you know what releases next month?
I do.
What releases next month? A game I've been...
The second iteration of Final Fantasy VII.
Rebirth. I am so excited for this game. I've already gotten the first 2 days of work in March taken off. That Friday and Saturday to play it.
I'm just cautiously optimistic.
Why?
They changed too many things. They changed things that I didn't like seeing in the first disc of it, I guess you'd call it.
And before we go any further than this, I want to iterate. Dad, he's the reason I like 7. I think he likes it more than I do. Probably.
How many years you been alive?
23.
I've played it more times than that.
Yeah. We both played it quite a bit. You've gotten a bit more.
If I had to guess.
I think I've probably, throughout my whole lifetime, I've probably played it maybe 6 or 7 times throughout my 23 years of life. Once every few years, I'll go play it.
Yep. I had the guidebook once upon a time. I don't need it anymore. I pretty much have it memorized. There's a few things I don't do and don't remember, but not very many.
Yeah, and I think I've got at least 1 or 2 of those small things down. It don't matter. I open drinks on my thing all the time. It don't matter. But yeah, so we're going to discuss 7 Remake, 7 Rebirth, and OG 7. So, Danger, if you're listening to this, spoilers. We're going to talk about the actual 7. About things that are going to happen within 7, because I think I've told you, he wants to not play 7 until the entire trilogy is out. That's not going to happen. I assure you that's not going to happen. We're playing it probably this time next year.
It sounds to me like he's stubborn enough that he won't.
He has to. If I demand it for games and gamers, well, unfortunately we have the agreement. There's 2 games we are not playing on Games and Gamers. One is Call of Duty in any general, because I think I told you. Didn't I tell you about that whole ordeal?
Not that I know of.
I put in said game and downloaded
Oh,
150
yeah, you
gig.
did tell
Yeah,
me.
yeah. And apparently that's normal, and people try to defend it, which is absolutely crappy. Don't care. That's awful. And actually, believe it or not, a Sonic the Hedgehog game that I think I told you about, it's the worst game I've ever played from 2006, is the second game we're not touching. It's bad. It's broken. It's janky. There's nothing good about it. It's like a rip-off Terminator. It's just terrible. But if we demand it, we doth play it.
You let him get through the second version, and then, he might be more willing to find out how it goes heads and ends without having to wait.
Maybe.
And then you can talk about it after he plays the first and the second version. That you can, let him play the first disc. He could play the first disc
After Rebirth, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Theoretically.
Well, I mean, okay, tell him to stop at the temple.
Well, that's one thing I do want to talk about, is I think it's got I could be wrong, but I think it's been announced officially that it's supposed to end at the Forgotten Capital, Forgotten City, which is the end of Disc 1, which is, like, as we've said, like the halfway point of Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Because not much happens in the third disc. And people who don't know, who are younger than me, Final Fantasy VII's a 3-disc game originally. Which I'm glad that they're bringing that back. They're making these Final Fantasies need multiple discs. I love that they're doing that again. I can't wait for the time when Rebirth or Remake comes as its own trilogy, and it's like a dozen discs to download all of it. But yeah, so that one's coming out. You beat Remake, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was a fun game. I agree with you on some of the things that were done poorly. I hated the Sephiroth stuff in the first part.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I think I've told you, I'm playing through 7 again right now. I've just made it out of Midgar like 2 or 3 days ago. And that's one thing, is he, in the original, Sephiroth, you don't know, is the villain in any capacity.
Well, other than he killed the president.
That's what I'm talking about. Up until that moment, like the last 30 minutes at most, 20, 30 minutes of Midgar, you don't know even Sephiroth exists. Shinra's the big bad.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really prefer, just because it matches more of it. I like how they've done it with Remake, is they're making it matches Cloud's sanity, because, that's a big point that's going to happen later on, is his sanity.
Yeah.
I hope that happens after Disc 1. Why am I acting as if Disc 1, saying that like it's a big spoiler thing? This is like Vader being Luke's father. It's like a unanimous, everybody knows it.
Yeah, no, that was kind of one of the big storylines of the second disc, but...
Yeah. Is, Aerith dies. Which I'm betting is how Rebirth is going to end. If not, it's going to end right before it, and it's like reaching from afar, you have to start the next game with her dying.
Well, I know you've told me that they plan on doing this in 3 discs, right?
Yes. This is official. This is confirmed to be 3 discs.
The only problem I see with that is it took them 2 discs to get through the first disc.
I know.
Which would theoretically mean it's a 6-disc game nowadays, because they've added so much to it.
Yeah.
At least theoretically.
No, yeah, and that's one, and it's the data download is the thing, but yeah.
I mean, it just depends on how much they want to expand stuff. It takes 20, 30 minutes to get to the bottom of the northern cave in the first game, the original. How long is it going to take you to go through the maze to get into the center of the earth, whatever it actually is, but in the remake.
And that's what we're going to, unfortunately, right now, is we only have Remake to gauge time on, which I don't think, and as I've thought about it more, is not a good way to gauge it, because they did expand. I hate that they expanded Midgard into a full section. As fun as it was, in fact, I've put a few hundred hours into this game. Be damned. I don't like the fact that less than 4 hour segment gets expanded to a full version, a full game. As cool as it was.
Well, I mean, I kind of like the idea of the expansion part of it, just because, they told so much more of the story. They got people I actually cared when Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse died. You know, and in the first one, when you know them for such a short amount of time that it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Then, you know, it's like the beginning of a movie. They really told the beginning 15, 20 minutes of the plot really well. And they expanded it, and in some cases, too much.
Yeah. But, I wish there was... I don't hate it, but, man, spending the $80 for 4 hours...
Yeah.
That's one of my biggest complaints about all of this, when all of it is like me, is I've spent the money. I'm going to be spending all the money to get these things day one and not the collector's edition. I'm hopefully never going to have to spend $300 to buy a game again.
Jeez.
I'm hoping.
Nobody told you had to last time you did it.
Well, it's a rare thing. I wanted it.
Yeah, they're rare, like that European one you bought too.
Yeah, you know what? That is still rare. Not rare in the right way, but it's rare. But yeah, I'm okay with that. I want to see them in this one because after how they do Rebirth, we're gonna have a much better gauge at how they can do the rest of it.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you know, they did a good job expanding it. One of the sad things that I thought about, and from when I played it so many times in the past, when disc got old, I had a save point that was right outside of Midgar. And when I would start a new game, I wouldn't even play Midgar. There were so few details, other than just meeting new people introduced, that I started when you hit the world. Yeah. I didn't start when you played in Midgar. When you ran around in a couple of buildings into the same place and did a couple of the same things, and I just skipped that. Probably half of the times I played it, I skipped Midgar.
I mean, I can understand. I think it's a 4-hour segment. Not really much happens, truly. Takes you introduction to characters, and then you kind of start learning a little bit of the plot, sort of, Sephiroth and all that stuff. Then you have, I'd say probably one of the worst Final Fantasy mini games is the Mako Kart. Super Mako Kart. It's a joke I heard. Somebody on a song called it Super Mako Kart, where you're defending the buggy.
Oh, when you're on the motorcycle?
Yeah. Somebody called it Super Mako Kart, and to this day, I've never been able to not call it that, because I heard that, and that's so stupid. But I'm excited for it just because of all the full things they're going to add to it, like Vincent. I love Vincent. He's my favorite Final Fantasy character. Always has been, probably always will be.
Yeah, that's just because you started playing when you were so young.
As I've gotten older, knowing lore of him, he's cool.
I don't disagree, but like I say, when you were a little kid playing with the one that turns into the
monsters,
big giant monster, or not that big, but that was the one that was most exciting as a little kid, not just swinging a sword.
Even though I now have the said giant sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but I'm excited. But like that, they're going to expand on his stuff because he has a lot of deep lore to him that unfortunately got cut out of the original game.
Yeah, he was a big part of the backstory.
Mm-hmm. Then, like, even Yuffie. Yuffie had a lot of her stuff cut out. Wutai is supposed to be a mainline mission originally.
Did well, and then brought it back in the remake, talking about the war and stuff.
They made it. They haven't done that part specifically, but they've made a Yuffie. It's called Integrate. Unfortunately, you can't play it because you have PS4, but it's a DLC following her and her escapades in Midgar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Kind of like she messes with Roche. She has her own little mission, side characters and stuff like that she does. And apparently, I don't know how well it ties into OG, fitting that kind of lore and stuff like that. But this is apparently what she does during all of it. Is she's kind of, sort of, possibly tracking down these people in their avalanche to figure out who it is, and then hears about Cloud and his group.
Well, she was looking for materia and power and everything for part of the war. would have been the war, had there been a war in the original, then that would have been part of what she was on the mission for. So leaving that out and just having her as a materia hunter because they wanted materia didn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, that's some of those. Unfortunately, like I said, characters. She was cut out. She was supposed to be a mainline character with a mainline story. Same for Vincent.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they're seemingly making those. You have to deal with it. It'd still be kind of sad. It'd be entertaining, but it'd be kind of sad if, like, I know Yuffie's a main character, but let's say Vincent isn't a main character. You have to go unlock him. Same thing as you did in the original. Fight the thing in the safe, get the code, then fight it, and then maybe get him. Then talk to him the right way. Otherwise, because you can get him to stay, can't you?
I don't think so. I think if you go in and you just have all the conversations are pretty well. If you say the wrong thing, he'll pop back up, and then you can say the right thing. I don't think you get an opportunity to say the wrong thing where he doesn't open his coffin anymore.
I thought there was. I thought there was a way to make him, like, say the wrong thing, and then his coffin never opens up.
The only reason I say that is because I don't know what to say to him if I were to walk into his room right now. But I guarantee I would hit the buttons until he left with me.
And I'm just sitting here thinking, because I know Yuffie's like that. I know for a fact Yuffie's like that. You have to have the right thing. Oh, that'll be fun whenever Danger runs into Yuffie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the very first time, maybe even the second time I played it, I ran into her, didn't know who or what she was, but never said the right thing. And never looked for her enough to try different options. So, first couple of playthroughs, I never had her.
Mm-hmm. And that's, I'm glad that they're forcing her to be in the party. Everybody's going to be included. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Even Sid. One thought I'm thinking of on it, because I haven't seen anybody talk about it. You remember how in Remake Red was not a playable character? He was just kind of there for events?
Yeah.
Vincent's supposed to be like that in Rebirth.
Okay.
I'm afraid Sid will be too. Because I think I told you whenever we watched the last trailer, nothing except for a little cutscene of him has been shown in any way. No gameplay, not him walking with the party, nothing.
I'm fine with it. I mean, I had no issues not controlling Red. That wasn't a problem. He joined the game when he was supposed to join the game, and he helped the way he was supposed to help, although it was, infinitely more complicated than it had been in the original. A couple of fights, and that was it.
Yeah, it's just I thought I've heard nobody talk about it.
In the remake, did they go to prison? Or are we considering what? Remember when the president dies and they end up in prison and you're talking through the walls to the different people?
You weren't in the walls. You were in Aerith's old room with her that her and her mother stayed in.
No, because that happened too in the original.
No,
and you're trying to sneak out, remember? And
No. You're thinking differently. You're thinking of Elmira's house. I'm talking about in Shinra. Whenever you get captured, you are in Aerith's room that her and her mother were in, where their mother was getting tested on. You have a little drawing.
Okay, so that was the cell thing, but that was all a part of the same.
It's the same thing. It's the same.
Okay.
That's the prison. That's where you learn about the Cetra. You learn about the Whispers.
Yeah. That's
where all this is. That's the equivalent of them getting captured and the president getting killed.
Since I've only played it once, some of the interpretations from into the remake get a little gray and hazy. If you weren't playing them side by side and realize, oh, okay, this goes exactly with this, and this goes exactly with this. And part of that, just trying to remember, is because they kept straying a little from the path.
Kind of, sort of.
I mean, they were expanding it, but in the process of expanding, they tried to stray from it. Which brought in your explanation of the ghosts.
The Whispers. The Arbiters of Fate, as the game calls them. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of that. The idea is cool. But I've learned something recently, and I don't know if I told you this, but there was an interview. It could be wrong. This interview is a few years old, but they are not going to stray far from the story.
I hope not.
Like whatever remake is, let's say the remake trilogy, let's say it'll be 90-ish% of what the original is, just expanded more so. And that 10% is probably mostly in remake.
I mean, I look forward to the expansion. I'd love to see the gold saucer in a lot larger form.
That'll be fun. And
I mean, I'm a little concerned, when you're playing the game, the original, the date takes too long just because the conversation isn't very heartfelt and doesn't seem to matter very much. So, is the game time part of the date going to take an hour and a half?
God, I hope so. I don't think you've paid attention, but they actually have clips of the date in here. And
No, and I saw one when you showed it to me.
Yeah, and there are.
I mean, I saw it. I know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just hope it doesn't take an hour and a half to play through it.
I hope it takes at least 45 minutes. I'm not gonna lie, because they're going through a whole stupid play. All the characters are in it. Barrett's there as the big bad villain. You have Red and Kate Sith.
I can only imagine that the answer to that would be yes, considering what they did when you got the wig and the dress from in the first one, what that expanded to, and singing on stage and everything else. I mean, it turned into a full spectacle that took
2 hours.
Took 2 hours, and it was 10 minutes of the game, 5 minutes, depending on if you know where you're going.
Yeah.
5-10 minutes of the game, and you're done with it.
No, the stupid part about all that, like half of that time we cut out because of the stupid Hell House boss fight in Remake.
No.
That's still one of my least favorite bosses. That thing's just more annoying and tanky than it needs to be.
Yeah, it wasn't even a boss fight.
No, it was just a random.
In the original.
It was just a random enemy spawn.
Just a random house.
Because, yeah, I was sitting there playing it, and I was doing some stuff. I think I was trying to grind out a weapon. Maybe I was just grinding up some levels and happened to run into it, and I started getting the stupid, flashbacks of that Hell House and all the boss, and the fact I blew it up in, 3 turns.
Well, I mean, when you're strong enough, he change into the Hell House. It's just a house.
Yeah. And at the time I wasn't. I'm not doing a whole lot of super high level grinding. I didn't in Midgar anyway. I'm outside of the town now, so I'm doing a little bit more. Not a massive amount, but I'm at least going to be a little tougher. Probably level 20 before I go past the Zolam.
Well, you told me that, and I mean, like I said, having beta is pretty cool, but...
Oh, I played around.
But there's really only 2 places that you have to grind, truly, in the entire game. When you get to Nibelheim, you have to be ready to go fight the monster in the safe.
Yeah.
The other time is when Aerith needs to be strong enough to survive the temple. As personally, because I've played the game so many times, Aerith, considering her fate, is not one that I typically play with. But she has to be strong enough to survive the temple because you're forced to play with her.
Well, I mean, she technically doesn't. You could let her stay dead the whole time and have Cloud do everything.
Yeah, but that demon wall's a pain in the butt with just 2 people.
Oh, I don't disagree. It's just... Yeah.
And her healing wind, which is all I ever have because I've never played with her, so her specials don't level up. But even her healing wind is very beneficial. Because it comes so quick, and all of a sudden, everybody gets hit with icicles, and you're all down to halfway nothing, and here comes healing wind, and you'll survive the next hit.
She has... I know you haven't ever done it, but the last time I played, maybe a year or so ago, maybe 2, I managed to get all of her limits, and let me tell you that she has some busted limits.
Well, I've heard she has.
I
just don't want to play it and spend the time that it takes to get them just to lose them halfway through.
I don't, and that's a fair thing, but let me tell you, whenever she makes the entire party invincible...
I can see a benefit to it.
To the fact of invincibility, you can't even heal yourself invincible?
Immune to everything, huh?
Yeah, I was doing it. I was playing it. I was playing and I was in Cosmo Canyon, going through all that. And as I was going through it, I tried to heal. Because I was like, okay, I'm invincible. I'm going to heal in the meantime. And it's just heal, and I healed for 0 HP. So if you're immune, you're immune.
Well, alrighty then. It's kind of like being invisible or a ghost.
Yeah, like it don't matter.
Immune to everything.
You're immune to absolutely everything. And another thing, whenever it comes down, I'm excited for Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah, I am too. That was a fun part of the game. Fun part of the original.
Yeah, like that one was like I like a whole bit of the story with it where it shows Red and his like more of his backstory and how he is, why he is, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hoping because of as you said, they expanded into the sadness, so you were sad for Jesse, Biggs, and Wedge, and their ends. I'm hoping for Seto, you get more teary-eyed for that.
I would imagine, but they didn't do an awful job even in the brief period that they spent on it in the first one.
No, they didn't, and that's why it's...
I mean, you felt sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
You felt bad. The tears dropping off the cliff.
Yeah. And the sad part is they may have been able to save him. Soft. It's Yakira's petrification. I'm hoping some of these things that happen... Because I think it's Final Fantasy V, I want to say. You don't know, but I think it's 5. One of the main characters dies, and everybody does everything they can to try to bring him back. They throw Phoenix down, they throw Mega Phoenix, Life, Cure. They do everything they can, and it doesn't work. I hope, I may be sadist for this, I hope that they try it again and it does not work. And Red has a whole big character arc with this. Because in the original, this is one issue I have after playing the original compared to Remake. Remake is going to do its characters so much better, which is a fact. I don't have an issue with that. It's, much higher budget put into it than the original.
Yeah.
I want the character arcs that happen to mean something. Because we'll take Barrett, because his thing has been shown a bit in there. We see Dine, we know more. We're going to know about his whole thing. That'll be a big part of the game. At least an hour and a half, probably 2 at most.
Well, their conversation and fight may be, but I think we know that whole story.
That's not what I'm talking about. What happens there never gets brought up again, and no character development happens after that. Red. After Red sees his father, my father wasn't a coward. My father was a hero who did his absolute best. He stopped what he needed to. Nothing ever happened with that again. Red didn't become more stoic like his father or anything like that. The character stayed the same.
Well, that's definitely going to happen because we now have a verbal video game versus a reading video game.
I think
so. I mean, you'll get that connection just by identifying with the voice, or not, but.
And then like Sid, I think Sid is probably the only one that out of all of his stuff had possible development. I don't remember all his dialogue right offhand to know how he was with, Shira and all that stuff and Rocket Town with all that. But he definitely went through development. I do know that.
Well, other than the brief apology when they're trying to lift the thing off of her when it blew up, that's it. That's the only character development of the angry guy into something new that you see. So there is no growth. I mean, it's a conversation piece, but it's not a growth point in the original. But they didn't focus on those.
They couldn't.
For most all of them.
Yeah, they couldn't. They couldn't. For the only character who had development truly was Cloud. He didn't ever reference stuff, but you could see the growth of it, especially after after Medeal.
Yeah, even Tifa, who wasn't, remorseful or sympathetic or any of that stuff wasn't really reflected in the original, and should have been because she had the same memories. Should have had some of the same memories that he did, and never says a word.
I'm glad. I don't know if you remember, but one of the trailers actually brings that up. it's one, maybe the second or third trailer. It's one of the earlier ones. Is they're fighting through stuff, and Tifa even like pulls Aerith aside. Hey, Aerith, I need to talk to you. Everything Cloud just said, and this is a very layman says, everything he just said is bullshit. And I'm happy they're going to be expanding into that, which means Tifa will be like, that was Zack. I hope she says it was Zack, something like that.
Yeah.
It could theoretically bring the craziness that he goes into in Mideel either start sooner because we see the Doctor. We know we see the Doctor in there.
Well, it only depends on if anybody says something to him. I mean, if he continues to live his own delusion, then things will go on as normal, just like it did in the original.
I don't know if I'd want that or not. I don't know if I'd want him to say something like, "Hey, Cloud, are you sure that's right?" Like, not say anything, but kind of hints like, "Hey, are you sure that's right?" And he's like, he thinks about it. Yeah, that's entirely what I remember. Man, I'm excited for the fact that Cloud's crazy. No matter what, Cloud's legitimately crazy, and some people seem to forget that or don't realize that Cloud's actually insane. I think you know that.
It ain't insane.
He wholeheartedly believes he is somebody else. He has like a whole second personality in him. That's not insane like Insane Asylum insane, but that's like insane to like he's actually mentally, he's insane. His personality, that's what the whole Mideel thing is, at least the way I took it, is his personality got shrugged off and put to the side, and Zack's personality that he remembers is what takes the stage. Then after the whole Mideel stuff, Cloud becomes Cloud.
Well, I mean, you could almost see it in a different light. Things get glorified more as time goes on. Take Pawpaw and his stories. How much bigger they get every year. This is the truth, but a year later, this is the truth. And a year later, this is the truth. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And he's talked himself into being the main character instead of the sub-character of the exact same story. I mean, he was there.
Yeah.
And he's remembering everything. He just put himself as the hero as opposed to the sidekick. So, yeah, there's a little bit of delusion in there. But all the story parts were the same. Insane doesn't sound correct.
He definitely does go insane with the Mideel stuff. And
Mideel he does when he finally starts to question and second guess.
Yeah.
But he was just trying to remember it in the true version. It's kind of like you tell the story so many times of you being the hero that's all of a sudden how you'll remember it over the course of time. And that's kind of what he did, except he did it in his head.
Mm-hmm. I'm honestly, I think that'll be my favorite storyline going into it. With Cosmo Canyon right behind it. I love the Cosmo Canyon stuff. I'm hoping, God, a month.
A month.
A month and 2 days before it releases. And you're not going to see me for like a solid 3 weeks. I'm letting you know this.
I don't agree that. You'll be coming over here to eat.
Maybe. I can cook stuff.
I'll get a message. What y'all cook? And you'll show up.
I'll come over. Okay, fine. That Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and possibly maybe Sunday, you won't see me. I at least know Thursday night, Friday, and Saturday, you're not going to see me.
Oh, I guarantee you. Did you cook steaks?
That's why
I saw you out by the grill.
I don't even know if I'm going to look outside. Eyes glued will come out with the long, shagged beard. Eyes just bloodshot. I'll learn new video game words. Like, I think I told you foist. Mom hates that I learned that word from a video game. But
that's funny.
I've been chatting. Out of all the storylines that we have, because we have a lot of game left, we can talk in the entirety of it. You can tell whatever you point. What are you excited for story plot line to see expanded more into. Whether it's a specific character plot line or main plot line expanded more into. If you have one.
Well, plot line. No, I don't know that I'm excited about any of the plot lines. I want to see what they do with the chocobo races.
Of all, chocobos are coming back. You can. There's a video out there. Maybe I'll show you after this. But you can actually see Red riding a chocobo.
That's funny because that didn't happen in the first one.
No, it didn't, and it's people blew up the internet about that. It's like, hey, the whole party, we need 5 chocobos, and Red just taps Barrett on his shoulder with his tail. Make it 6. I'm gonna have to show you.
But yeah, no, I mean, just all of the games and all of the stuff that they're gonna do when they get there. And that's going to happen fairly early in the new game. In the remake. I mean, if they kind of follow the storyline, you got Calm and you got the Gold Saucer.
Doesn't Junon happen before the Gold Saucer?
No.
I thought it did.
No, because Junon's when you get on the boat and leave the continent.
That's right. Yeah, Manny and I were arguing about it the other day.
So, no, I mean, you got Calm, you got the Gold Saucer. You get the car.
I'm thinking Fort Condor. Fort Condor is the thing in between.
In between what?
Calm and Saucer.
No.
No?
There's nothing.
Yeah, Fort Condor is on the other side of the caves with, you can do Fort Condor. That's where you get Yuffie. That's where you have access to the trees, the bushes. Is Yuffie's in that area around Fort Condor.
That's all after the Gold Saucer. It's after you get the car.
I don't think
when you get the cars, when you start hitting the trees.
I don't think it is.
Maybe there's another set of trees, but it's when you get the car right after, because that's when you get the Titan summon.
That's in Gongaga.
The busted reactor.
Yeah,
that's when you're in the car, and you drive it around until you make it to Nibelheim, and then you do the Nibelheim. The whole part of that. You come out the other side. And that's where that is.
I don't think that's right.
Yeah, it's after you come out, after fighting the materia.
Because you come out of a cave.
Yeah. And you can run that way and go over to that, or you can go that way and go to Junon.
No, after Nibelheim's Rocket Town, isn't it?
No. Well...
Like, that's immediately after. I'm 90% sure it goes Midgar, Calm, Zolom, Fort Condor is there, then you can go to it. You don't have to do Condor.
Nope. Condor is not there.
I'm going to play it tonight, and whenever I go through that area, because I'm right there, I'm going to send you a message, yay or nay. Because I'm 90% sure it goes Zolom, then Condor.
No, you can't do Condor that early in the game.
No, you can't do it there, but it's there. That's what I'm talking about, is that area is there. Like, you can go visit Fort Condor. And he's like, oh, Shinra attacks, so will you help us in our time of need, if need be?
I don't think it's nowhere near that early.
I think you're wrong. I want to say you're actually wrong on this. Like, I'm being genuine. I'm pretty sure it is caves, you talk to the Turks, then on the other side you have Fort Condor.
When you come out on the other side, that's when you come into Barrett's town.
I'm gonna play it.
And you go there, and that's when you get the car.
I know you get the car from there. I know that part. I'm just pretty sure you have the ability to visit. Can't do anything with it. Maybe a little test run, but you can't. But it's at that point. It's just another point to visit later on. Because I know you get Yuffie on the other side of that, on the immediate other side. Another one I'm good for wanting is the weapons.
Well, I mean, what else is before Nibelheim?
I think it's just the Golden Saucer. And Cosmo Canyon.
Cosmo Canyon, because that's where your car breaks down.
Yeah. Then you go to Nibelheim after that.
After Nibelheim, still having a hard time seeing that going from Nibelheim just straight to Rocket Town, because you got to get on the boat and go to Junon, and that's in a different location. Rocket Town's in that wide open place on the map, and
yeah.
Junon's not there. Junon's in a different location.
Anyway, like I said,
yeah, I think
one of us is wrong. I don't know which, but one of us is wrong. But like I said, I'm excited for the weapons because they're making that be like more of a focal point in the remake.
I don't really care about the weapons, and I'm not even really excited about the specials and any of that kind of stuff, because some of the fighting was just a little bit chaotic. You know, you're just hitting buttons and you're seeing things happen, but everything's happening so fast. So you can switch to this one, switch to that one, and you're hitting these and hitting that, and it's just, it was, I don't know, so much more controlled, way more controlled in the original. You know, had they added the fast, medium, and slow action like they did in the original into the new one, so you could actually stop and see what happens and watch what's going on and enjoy it a little bit more. Not that you don't get to see it, but that you could enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Before it was time to start hitting buttons again.
I'd say this one had the combat down very well. It was fluid. It was precise. You compare it to 15.
Well, that's what I was about to say. It's way better than 15.
Yeah, 15 is I'm seeing a lot of people doing their like challenges on there. 15 has its own is a good combat system if you're used to that kind of stuff.
I didn't enjoy it. I didn't make it through it.
Yeah.
I quit playing it because the fighting wasn't fun. I wasn't in control. It was just chaos.
I need to play through it again. It's been a few years I've played it. Played on my PS5 now.
That, and you kept griping to quit doing side quests.
Yeah. Because the game...
Well, I wanted to get stronger so I wouldn't have any issues with the fights, which never stopped. But...
yeah, it's an open world game.
I wanted to go do the side quests and get stronger.
Yeah, the thing, what issue with it is Final Fantasy 15, I think, might actually be the longest game, like 100%. It's either that one or 12, and I think 15's longer by like 10 hours. Because it's like 120.
12 is long if you're going for 100%. I never made 100%. I got a long ways, but I never got 100.
Okay, so 100, let's say 100, okay, this is telling me two different ones. It says 104 hours or 159 hours for 12. I don't know which one is.
I can believe the 159.
Okay, for Zodiac...
because it takes so long to level up. And I didn't play the Zodiac version. So all my people were strong.
Yeah, the estimated time to complete all 40 Final Fantasy window achievements is about 100 hours in the Zodiac Age. So let's add another 15 to it. Let's say 115 hours. I think that'd be fair to it. It says 150, and so they're about the same. They're about the same time.
It's a long time to play a game.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I'm not a fan of the 100% in games. I think I've maybe done 3 because I don't see, if I do everything in the game, I'm never going to want to play it again.
I've done that to a couple of them from way back when. One of the Crash Bandicoots that you can play, you can get to 100%, and you get to go race a jet ski at the end. I couldn't even tell you which one it was that I played anymore, but 100% of that one. And that took a lot of runs through the same area over and over.
I think I do remember you doing that. I remember that with the girl. You had some girl with the sister, the sibling? Or the other one?
No, well, the other one that I did, you 106%, Donkey Kong Country 3, Diddy's Conquest. I think
that's 2. Diddy's is 2. 3 was with Dixie and Dumb Kong, Throw Kong.
The baby?
Was he a baby?
Yeah, big baby.
I never knew he was a big baby.
The really big one, yeah. Dixie and the baby. That's the one I have. That's the one I 106'd.
Yeah, that's 3.
That's the one that's the one I 100%'d. But it's 106.
Yeah. I know that because you have to get to actually get the ending, you have to do it. I think is what it was. But I think whenever Rebirth comes out, it'll be, unless something happens, because there's some games that could theoretically come out this year. Silent Hill 2 Remake is slated to come out this year.
Okay.
You never played the original. I feel like you might like it.
I played one.
You played Downpour. Downpour is on the 360.
Okay. I played one.
Yeah, you played like 20
Played
minutes.
one of them. I don't know which one. I played one.
Downpour, because I got it. No, you bought it for me, and you came home after you played it because you got it after work, and I was going to go to bed on a Friday, and you played it Saturday morning, and said, "Hey, I played your game that I got you," and then you let me take over, and I don't think you ever touched it any time after that.
No, there was one you had me play 4 or 5 years ago that I played all the way through.
I don't think so.
I kind of do.
What? Tell me anything about it.
What do you mean? How confusing it was?
Just tell me.
Because it was right before the.
Yeah, because I'm asking you to tell me any detail you remember about it. Because the only one in my lifetime I can remember you playing, besides the playable teaser we had, that first-person one that scared me, and that was about almost 10 years ago now. The one that I had in the living room there that scared me so bad. You're in this hallways.
Yeah.
That one, I may have had you try. The only one I remember you touching was Downpour. And that's,
yeah, I know you had me do the little demo version thing that you had.
Yeah.
Did that one a time or two.
And the other one...
I should think there was one that I played, though.
You played Downpour, but you didn't make it far into the game. Maybe 20 minutes at most.
I don't know.
But anyway, that one I'm excited for if it comes out.
And I couldn't play it again and tell you again. I mean, I played Ocarina after 20-something years, and there were images, screenshots that I remember. But for the most part, the game was new all over again, just because it had been so long.
I hope with this one being within 10 years, it'd be a little more plausible to remember, oh yeah, this is this, that is that.
If it wasn't very impressionable.
Oh, like I said, you didn't play a lot of it either. I don't remember you playing a lot of it.
I don't know. When I'm sitting here thinking about it, I think everything I'm thinking is movie version.
We watched a movie. We 100% watched the movies.
Yeah. But I mean, when you say give me details, I'm movies are flashing in my head.
With Sean Bean?
Guy riding a motorcycle off a cliff. Trying to reach the exit, and somehow he wrecks and goes flying off the cliff and hits a blue wall because he couldn't actually leave because he's trapped.
That's not... That doesn't sound familiar. Because...
Yeah, somehow they ended up in like a dungeon kind of thing at the end.
I think you're mixing stuff. Because you're thinking of the dungeon. You're thinking of Silent Hill Revelations with the girl. They take on the weird scythe bat banshee thingy. Pyramid Head comes in and fights her.
Okay.
That is That is Silent Hill Revelations. Silent Hill with Sean Bean is the one that I told you about. Has like the two plot lines kind of going on. It's the one where he has to find his daughter in Silent Hill. He has police officer Sybil Bennett helping him out. You see...
At the end of whatever I'm talking about, they were like trapped in the dark world.
That's Sean Bean in the first Silent Hill. The movie.
Because I remember that thinking...
Yeah, that's the movie. You're thinking of the movie. We watched the movie.
They're like they're in the same room, but one's in the light world, one's in the dark world.
So that's the movie. Yeah, we did watch that.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was not remembering you playing anything Silent Hill except for Downpour.
I still think I did, but maybe not. I don't know.
But you have that. There's another one called...
Who knows? Guess what next game I'm gonna play like Zelda, that I've played it before and I remember nothing about it other than just like images, screenshots in my head.
If we had another PS2, since I'm not doing PS2 stuff, I'd give you the PS2 and you can play my super expensive game.
I have one here.
I have the silver one because the fat one wasn't working.
Oh, did you come get it?
Yeah. Like, at the beginning of the year, remember? It was like New Year's Eve. I was like, hey, can I borrow the PS2? I want to play a game.
Oh, yeah.
We need a new PS2.
I don't disagree.
We got way off topic because we were talking 7.
Hook the PS1 back up. It's still down there.
But it doesn't play PS2. That's the issue.
And play with PS1 games.
But I have PS2 games I want to play. I wish my stupid PS3 just didn't crap out on me. I'd be able to play all of them.
Yeah, maybe we'll find one this summer.
I'm honestly thinking there's one about 2.5 hours from here. On the next paycheck, I may make a 2.5 hour drive to go get.
Okay. Knock yourself out.
Yep.
Have fun with that.
It's down in Texas. It'll be paycheck day, so I can go spend a night down there, have some fun. In a hotel room and probably never leave.
Yeah, wait till you have money. Well, it may be gone by then, I guess. But
that's the whole issue. But yeah, no, 7. I'm excited for Rebirth. All the stuff that's going to be. And with it ending, theoretically, the Forgotten Capital. That's where it says it's supposed to be. I don't know if that is going to be the actual ending of it. I'm excited for the overall final bit of it. Because things are going to go really crazy after that. Because a lot happens after Disc 2. Or Disc 1.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if they can get me interested in Bugen's character. So it's a heartfelt when he goes.
Mm-hmm. Like that's why that's why I like Remake. No matter how much I gripe at it, it does well with its entirety because it handles its characters well. All of them are like, hey, you learn to love the characters.
Yeah, but we got to talk about the stupid ending.
Which stupid ending?
The big giant Sephiroth whatever fighting the barrier to leave the city and all that crap.
Oh, the multiple world thing, the timelines?
Yes. We can't not have this conversation and not bring that up.
I don't know how to talk about it. That's the issue.
But that's what I mean. It's got to be brought up.
I know.
I mean, that's so far off of
anything.
So far off topic. It was just dumb.
Yeah.
It made no sense. It had made no rhyme or reason. Didn't make me lose. Well, made me lose a little interest because it was so far
fetched
out there. It was completely pointless and not a part of the original game.
No.
You know, and they did a great job making the old game into a new game and expanding the story and making you feel good about the characters and everything. And then all of a sudden it goes into left field.
No, I do, and I don't disagree. Watching that, the Fates, because it was the Fates trying to stop them from doing whatever, because they apparently gone like a separate timeline, is what it was. The Whispers were kind of screwing up everything, and I think the theory with it is like it's all theory, is that it's connecting them to a world that they haven't screwed up.
Yeah, well, let's hope that it ain't timelines, because that ain't a part of the original game either. That would just be dumb as well.
Yeah. It's all I can't, unfortunately, I can't give you anything on it. It's all theories and ideas.
You don't have to give me anything on it. It just had to be mentioned.
It does. The fight itself, the fight was cool.
Yeah, the fight was fine.
But plotline, the only thing it really showed, and it's the one thing that any person I've talked to has kind of agreed with, is it just shows Sephiroth has bullshit powers. That's kind of all it really showed. Not that they're defying their fates or anything, because that whole final bit did not have to be added, and that's a fact. As cool as it was, it did not have to be added into the game.
Yeah, and somehow, there's a possibility that was a very unpopular thing with fans, and it just gets dropped. Like one of those plot lines that, okay, we're not going to talk about that anymore. And just gets left.
Here's how I'm
and that's truly, that would be what I would hope for. Is just drop it and leave it and ignore it and just forget about it. I'm sorry it happened. We made a mistake.
I unfortunately don't see that happening, because the Whispers are in the game. We saw it in one of the trailers where Aerith's at the place at her final rest. Is you can see the Whispers kind of flying around in the background. So all that stuff is still part of it.
Okay, but the ridiculousness of that last storyline part of it was...
Yeah.
Bothersome.
Mm-hmm. They could have just left at that point and called the game there.
Yeah.
Okay,
you want to give me another 30 minutes or an hour a game? Let me get to calm. Let's start the new adventure from there.
Yeah.
And there's your storyline going into the next game. You go have the long conversation that happens in the first one, which is a long conversation, because you have to read everything.
Mm-hmm. It's just...
But, okay, so we've established what's happened. Here's this, here's this, here's this, here's this. And that's how you end it. And then when you go into game 2, then that's how you start it. You get the exact same story. And you get the choice to skip it, because it was the ending of 1. You get the choice to skip it, move right on into the game, or you want to hear it again and you listen to it.
Yeah.
That would be a great dropping off point. Would have been.
It would have been. I can't disagree. At least if them making it too calm, if not telling the whole past story, just making it too calm, and it's like, hey Cloud, explain this. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And stopping it before the conversation, so you get the explanation in game 2. That would have been fine as well.
Yeah, and then I could have had, theoretically Yuffie being there, and let's say theoretically Yuffie finding her outside the city.
Even with flashbacks and catch up parts, so for
because it's been
ones that aren't us that play the old game right before the new one comes out. It was 6 months ago. It fills you in. It's got flashbacks. It shows you things that happened. That would have been a good way to start the second game.
I'm betting that's what they're going to do either way. Because we'll take Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 did it, and they gave like a brief, maybe 3 or 4 minutes of what happened in the first game and the DLC game.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what they do for this one too. Is like, hey, like last time on Final Fantasy VII. Yeah. Like very Dragon Ball Z-esque, but.
Yeah, and then that brings me into my next gripe. Is you got to play this game. It was a 3-disc game.
Mm-hmm.
Played all 3 discs. One bill.
Now you got to spend
way back when.
And now we'll use me as an example because I'm at least buying the deluxe editions of each.
Yeah.
I'm spending $200 to play a game I bought for $20.
And played 15 years ago.
Yeah, and I bought the $35 physical version too. I spent less money to buy the game twice than it did to buy the remake when it came out.
I spent $60 back when it was brand new when it first came out.
Back in the 90s, the good old 90s.
Yep. But $60 and I was done.
Mm-hmm. $20 per disc. Yeah.
Fair price.
A very fair. Now, like I said, that's one of my biggest gripes, which a lot of people agree with. Danger doesn't. He says he likes the way they're doing it now in increments. But he hasn't played the original, and I've told you that. That's how we started this off. So, and I think I have to gripe at this. We're in the griping session. I'm annoyed now because I'm thinking about it. You know what I'm about to talk about, don't you?
No, I was laughing about we're in the griping part.
I always have to. I have to go on. Danger and I have a whole thing that I have a Hayden rant like every other episode. It's sometimes the most off the wall thing, or it matches so perfectly well.
I would imagine they're always off the wall, but okay, go on.
When I say off the wall, it's like we're talking Final Fantasy VII. All right, let me tell you about this meal I had at this Mexican restaurant. That's off the wall.
That's definitely off the wall.
That's the kind of rant. It's like a randomly pop in my head. Like we use and the other one is Dragon Ball Z one. One of the characters that should have had more limelight, I gripe that he didn't have enough limelight. He was there for like 5 minutes, boom, done. That's my gripe. But, Danger, I hope you've made it this far. Or anybody out there, because I'm going to call Danger out on this. We had a conversation about Remake, and I said, I hate that they're splitting Remake into 3 increments. As cool as it is, yes, I hate that they're splitting it into 3 $60, well now $70, because games have shot up $10 price. For the first time ever, games are now $70, have been for like the past 2 or 3 years. I hate that they're doing it in 3 increments, because look at me, $200. If you're one of those avid game collectors that buys the collector's edition, that's $350 at least with each iteration. You're spending over theoretically $1,000 for that. I hate that. And he was like, he prefers it. I disagree with preferring that. I really do, because that means you want to spend more money to play something. And if you don't have a lot of money, he just got a job. I don't know if he wants me saying where he got a job at, but he got a job within the past month. Truly, officially got a job. I bet whenever he's going to realize that just spending money on games gets ridiculous. I buy a lot of games, so I know.
$300 for one.
Yeah. I won't deny it. It's my rarest game. I'm proud of that game. It's a cool game.
Shame I wasn't smart enough to buy it when it was $50.
Yeah, I know. 100%. 100% should have. So many games that if you were that young me, if I could have been like, hey Dad, buy this.
Yeah.
Parasite Eve, we could have had both of them.
Yeah.
Kudelka, I wouldn't have had to spend $300 on it. I wouldn't have to spend $90 on Dino Crisis if our copy was in better condition.
I would have bought 20 copies of dadgummit.
E.T.?
E.T.
Yeah, and so
back in the day.
Yeah,
before they threw them all in a ditch.
Hindsight being 2020, we would have had better games.
I played that game, by the way, back in the day.
Way off topic. I'm bitching. We were discussing 7 Remake, and his only little bit of 7 is Remake. 4 hours the original game. His quote was he no longer wants to play the original game. Because and I told him straight up, you have no right to this stupid opinion. Like, this is, I'm gonna swear, Dad, I apologize. I know you and my mother don't like me swearing.
I don't care.
But it's the dumbest fucking opinion any person could have. He doesn't want to play the original game because he played equivalent of 4 hours. And whenever I say, hey, you played 4 hours of this game, and they made it to a 40-hour game, he doesn't want to play it because the game sounds empty. He has no damn clue anything that happens except Aerith dies. He can't tell you anything. He couldn't tell you a single thing about 7 except Aerith dies before he played Remake. And he had the audacity to direct it at me that he doesn't want to play this game he's never touched, knows nothing about, because it's empty, and he knows shit about it.
Well, I have a slightly different take on it.
What you're going to say is, we've discussed this, is he's not wrong. It's going to feel more empty because 40 hours was dedicated to 4 hours. He'll play through Midgar and he's going to think it was empty. All of it's going to theoretically be the same. We don't know. I don't know yet with Rebirth. I'll know in about 10 days after a month. I'll know 3 days in a month.
Yeah.
But I hate that he comes up with an opinion on something he hasn't played. No,
That's not what I was going to say.
okay.
My opinion is, if you get the opportunity and you have an interest in Final Fantasy VII in any way, shape, or form, how could you not play what I consider one of the defining games of video gaming from way back in the day? It redefined gaming as we know it now. Everybody tried to expand what they did in Final Fantasy VII, the original. That was kind of the staple. Even to the point of one of the most surprising deaths in video game history happened in this game. Not to mention it being 3 discs, which there were others. But the 40-hour story, the whole, the gameplay, everything about it was state of the art at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And was defining for video gamers. And to say, I don't want to play this game because it might feel empty, when that was state of the art,
Mm-hmm.
and brought us partly into the video gaming world that we are today.
Yeah, I know.
That's my gripe. That would be my aggravation. If you want to play the new one, that's great.
And that's part of my whole thing too. Is, it's a 30-year-old game, yes, but you look at it in 30 years ago. How did this compare to everything else? I can go give you an indie game that a dude made with $5 in his mother's basement, that has more to it than this. But
I mean, you want to call yourself a true gamer, you got to go play the original Mario Brothers. I know the graphics are bad; they don't even compare. But you got to go play it.
Mm-hmm.
You get decent at it. It takes, 5-10 minutes to run through the whole game if you know where you're going and what you're doing.
If you know if you're a freaking master at the game.
Okay.
Because 5 minutes is a speed run, Dad. That's the fastest it's been beat.
Okay. I play it. It takes 10, 15. It don't take that long.
I know.
I'm not going for the speed run.
I know.
But I know it doesn't take that long.
I'm just correcting the 5 minutes. It's like 10 to 15 if you know what you're doing. I have to correct that.
Okay, fine.
Because Resident Evil can be...
I don't go for speed runs. I don't keep up with them, and I don't care who beat it in the fastest record ever.
Because, Resident Evil can be beaten in 25 minutes if you know what you're doing.
Well, I'd be impressed, but okay.
I think it is actual speedrun in there. The version you have.
Okay.
But I don't deny
but
that.
I would consider Mario 2 and Mario 3. You're going to consider yourself a gamer.
Okay.
You got to know the history, and you got to go play a few of these games, and understand the steps that were taken, and the jumps from one system to the next, and what us people that started out with an Atari or nothing have gone through over the years before we got to Call of Duty or Halo or whatever game that you're into.
Mm-hmm.
Go see the struggles that everybody went through. And we played the greatest games that were released at the time.
Yeah, I know. And that's
and to say, I don't want to play one because it'll feel empty is a very disappointing statement.
I'm going to call him out again because, you know what? Why not? I'm bitching. This is how I go.
Well, I went on a little rant, but...
well, you went on a fair enough rant. I want to tell you. Thank you for telling me. I want to call him out on a small little thing. Right. After all that ranting, I have to add one more rant to this. Because this has always irked me. We're talking about his opinion on not wanting to play an older game because this remake of a game that has literally extra one added to its price. And fun fact, it's about $150 million to make remake. It took about 50 to make the original 7.
Okay.
It's so there's a lot. I won't deny a lot gets added. His opinions are bad though. So, this past year, 2023, had some big heavy hitters in the gaming industry. Very big games. Legend of Zelda had a new game. Resident Evil 4 had a remake. There's a game called Alan Wake that got released that took the world by storm and blew up a lot. Mario even got a nomination. Mario Wonder game. A lot of games this past year. The one that won is called Baldur's Gate. I think I've told you it's Dungeons and Dragons, the game.
Yeah, sounds fun.
I've played it. It's not my cup of tea just because I play Dungeons. Playing by yourself, it's not fun.
Okay.
Because I'm used to playing Dungeons and Dragons with Australians once a week. Yeah. So I have a whole lot more involvement with it. So that's my big issue with it is that I play Dungeons & Dragons for free. Why do I want to spend $70 to essentially play a different story in Dungeons & Dragons?
Well, part 2 of that is the fact that somehow you seem to outsmart the Australians and become overpowered and just become, the protagonist of the whole story, which has got to be enjoyable.
It is.
And you can't do that with a video game.
No. So that's probably another.
I doubt very seriously you can create an atomic bomb in a video game. So
no, you can't. But off topic on all that, he didn't want this game to win when it first came out. He wanted, I don't know what he wanted when, probably either Legend of Zelda or Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, I want you to laugh at this because this is a funny thing. We're going to talk about this in a minute. I have to make fun of Spider-Man 2 anytime it gets brought up. But he didn't want Baldur's Gate 3 to win. Do you know why? Take any random guess. The most off-the-wall guess.
I couldn't even fathom a guess.
He didn't want it to win because the only time he saw anything about it, it was sex-related.
It's kind of weird for a teenager.
Yeah, he's 20.
Okay.
But that was his thing. We even have a whole conversation. We can go back in Discord. I even talked about it the other day. That he didn't want it to win because that's the only clips he's ever seen are sex-related. How fast can you have sex with this character? Stuff like that.
Well, I mean, they've always said sex sells.
You're not wrong. That's why he didn't want it to win. He since played it and says he loves it. After I told him, hey, this is all the thing, you went with it. Because at the time I didn't think he realized it. And then I talked some sense into him. He realized it's a very, very big game. It's an amazing game. It's not my kind of game. I 100% see why it won. 100%. It's done something that hasn't been done in a long time. It's changed the RPG world to the point that other companies said, yeah, no, this isn't a golden standard. This is an anomaly. That was actually made by good companies. Like, yeah, we can't do this. This is a random, once-in-a-blue-moon perfection.
That was kind of my point of what I was saying about Final Fantasy VII back when it first came out. I mean, I went to the video game store, and at the time you could rent systems and games. So I paid a $100 deposit and rented both of them. And we started playing the game, me and some friends, and we were taking turns with the controllers and playing through the game, and played it for a couple days and took it back. And then rented it again, played it for a couple days, took it back. And we were playing going, there's still 2 more discs.
Mm-hmm.
And playing and going, there's still 2 more discs. And we'd play a little more, and there's still 2 more discs. And it was just unfathomable to us, because we hadn't played any multi-disc games at the time, of what kind of storyline we were getting into.
Mm-hmm.
And half of that conversation, we were still in Midgar.
Yeah.
Going, what's going to be at the end of this? Where is disc 2 going to take place?
Yeah, you had
and then we leave the city going, what the hell? We're still on disc 1.
yeah it's like a fraction of the game.
I mean, it was mind blowing to me. Just to see how things expanded exponentially that quick with one game. I mean, they'd made decent length games at the time, but nothing that compared to that. I mean, it was kind of revolutionary.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm gonna say it again.
play it.
I can't believe you wouldn't play this game. To say that you've played this game, I played the original Final Fantasy VII. I played the original Mario Brothers. I am a gamer. All these people, they think whoop my ass in Call of Duty. They still ain't a gamer until they've played some of these originals.
Yeah, that's a whole different gripe. We could have a whole another day. But that's one gripe. Is that opinion bothered me, and then it got even worse whenever Alan Wake 2 released. That was my favorite horror game of 2023 because it plays a lot like Resident Evil, like a modern day Resident Evil mixed with Silent Hill stuff, and it's done very well. I made the joke that it became my favorite game of the year. Final Fantasy 16 was 100% my game of the year. Everybody in my Discord knew it because I talked about that so much. But I made the joke of this one has to win as my number one game of the year because there's a musical in there. Middle of the game, it's a horror game. Everything's going on. Alan's in the middle of an interview, and it goes interview, normal interview, like a Groundhog Loop kind of thing interview, like a creepy one, but Groundhog Loop. And it goes interview, 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 musical number. Not kidding. Like it's a 5-minute song, but if you don't know what you're doing, it'll just have like the same background guitar riff until you get it figured out. But it's a full-on musical in the game. And I said, this is amazing. It's a horror game. You'd never expect a musical because it's out of the blue. It's the only one that happens in there. He didn't want it to win for that reason.
Oh, that's an entertaining plot twist, just to throw it out there.
Yeah, I know. That's why people loved it. You are drinking so loud. Thank you. Like, that irked me. That's his opinion. It's a musical. I don't want it to win. This game has sex in it. This game, I've only ever seen sex in it. I don't want it to win. Like, I'm learning. I hate your dog sometimes. Like, that kind of does bother me. That's his opinion on it. Is one small thing can ruin all of it. Right now we're playing through Life is Strange. That's what he's messaging me at right now. He couldn't figure out a puzzle, which I was hoping he'd be able to figure out. He couldn't figure it out, and he's upset that he couldn't figure it out. But this one here, I think I was telling you, it's based on real life. Base, sort of. It has more real life things to it.
Okay.
It's college pretty much. Sex in college, drugs in college, all bad things in college. He doesn't like the game for the entirety of it, and that's fine. That doesn't bother me. He has an actual fair reason, because it's a hit or miss with this game. I won't deny it. But there's a musical. I don't like it. I don't want it to win. This game has sex in it. I don't want it to win. He now doesn't tell me opinions because we shrug them off. And it's not that I shrug off his opinions in any way, shape, or form. His opinions are valid to him. But if it's a dumb opinion, like Resident Evil, I don't want to play the original Resident Evil because of bad voice acting. Because there are people out there that refuse to play games with bad voice acting. My brother-in-law, Cody. At Christmas, we had the conversation. He doesn't want to play older games because they don't look good.
That's a graphic statement.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't look good. So whenever I said I play PS1 games, he's like, how do you handle how they look? You enjoy those things? Yeah, I play them for the story. And he won't play anything like, well, he went from PS4 to PS5. He doesn't want to play anything PS4 anymore. Those opinions bother me. And this is that kind of opinion. It's a stupid opinion. You're allowed your own wrong opinion, but it gets to a point when it's just a stupid opinion.
Sometimes it's worth the experience.
No, that's entirely.
And you suffer through a little bit of the old school.
Yeah, because you like Like, I bet even, like, sometimes they all just experience, like, your experience. Like, my mom, when I was younger, tried playing a game to kind of get the vibe. It was a SpongeBob game. I remember her getting stuck in, like, Goo Lagoon, I think. This happened. This 100% happened because we were in our original house that this house connected to. I woke up one morning and she had it set up in the living room. And I walk in, Mom, what are you doing? I'm trying to play a video game. Did she play? I only know SpongeBob, so that's why she played it. But she didn't play it because that's not her forte, and that's entirely... She doesn't do video games, so it's too much going on for her. That's a fair reason for somebody who doesn't play it. I don't like it. That's a fair reason. But I'm going to pinpoint something small and insignificant. I don't like those opinions. And that's why his opinions sometimes don't matter to me. Is it's something insignificant like that. I love the dude, don't get me wrong. Danger, I hope you're listening. I love you, brother. But you have bad opinions sometimes. And then one thing I also want to talk about, because I mentioned it, Spider-Man 2. I have to diss on it anytime. Anytime it comes up. It got 7 nominations in 2023 at the Game Awards.
Okay.
You know how many awards it won? None. Spider-Man fans were livid. To the point that they were literally on stream screaming over this game that had all these nominations that didn't win a single thing. It was just so hilarious to see them go ballistic.
At the time, Spider-Man's a big deal right now.
I know. But not big enough deal to win in every department. The game didn't do anything different compared to the first one. As much as I hate to say it because I don't like this comparison, it felt like a $70 DLC.
Oh, that'd be disappointing.
The combat story's different. Combat doesn't change too much. As opposed, like, you have gadgets.
Yeah.
You have gadgets that you can, like, time off, like every few that are limited. Like, think of Legend of Zelda. You have your gadgets. As you just fight, you get them back. 2 replaces it with more of like Final Fantasy VII ATB gauge kind of thing. Use a move, wait 20, 30 seconds, and you can use it again. They changed that, and now you can fly around the city.
Okay.
And they use the haptic in the PlayStation 5 controller. You know, the pushback.
Yeah.
That's kind of all they really did of the game. And that's why it feels like a $70 DLC. That's why I'm glad it didn't win. It didn't deserve anything. It's a fun game. I liked it. It didn't deserve to win anything. Maybe voice acting, but...
Well, I mean, if you ain't going to add originality to a new game, that's...
And I'm not... And people out there, I know I gave Spider-Man a bad review. I'm going to give Spider-Man 2 a much better review when we eventually play it, because it's a much better game than the first one. Spider-Man just felt... Nah. I mean, I'm not big into superheroes like I used to be.
Well, I hadn't played them, so I can't give an opinion.
You want to? Say no. They're not worth it. They're not worth it. Superhero games aren't fun. They feel empty. Because, you know, like Superman. They can't make a good Superman game. Because Superman's Superman. He does everything.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've talked 7. I'm hyped for 7. Like I said, you're not going to see me for a solid few days whenever 7 releases. This is a fact.
Yeah, I'll be cooking good that week.
You better.
Just to spite you, I'll show you. I'll send pictures.
I said Friday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That's 2.5 days.
You said Sunday too.
I said possibly Sunday after that because you're right. I'm going to come out. And that's what I'll come out looking haggardly, not shaven, bloodshot eyes. But thank you all for listening to us rant, talk about 7. It's one of our favorite games. Probably one of his top 3. It's one of my top 10, no matter how much I hate on it. It's a good game. We both have 7 paraphernalia hanging up in both of our game rooms.
That's true.
Me more than him, but I got the Buster Sword.
I have that because you give it to me.
I did.
Someday I assume you'll reclaim it, but...
I gave it to you. I'll order my own. I'm not that kind of person to buy you a gift and then take it back. But thanks all for listening. We did this one as a kind of an emergency one because Danger hasn't been able to beat Life is Strange. That's supposed to go up in 2 days. So this will be up on Monday. I'm hoping we have Life is Strange up sometime later this week because I don't want to be thrown off schedule. Because we have February planned out, leading into March. You know what? I have to say this. Mother, what the hell did you put on the TV? You have to answer this now. What did you put on the TV? She put on video of a TikTok of toes that are like 3 inches long. What the absolute heck? What? Mom, what do you watch? I'm not making this up, people. You know what? Ah, she took it down. What the hell? Mom?
No comments? That was extremely weird.
That really was weird. She's over there nodding. You know what? She'll explain it, and I'll explain it in post. So thanks all for listening. Stay tuned for hopefully Life is Strange, and then month of February and March. You got any final words to say, Dad?
Nope.
Toes are weird?
Those were.
Those toes were weird. We'll see you next week, everybody. Or in our next episode. That was weird. Why are you watching toes?
It just popped up in my deal.
That's...
What do you have to search to make that pop up?
I know.
It just popped up in Reels.
What do you watch? Because it's things
I was
typically...
watching
Foot fetish,
this.
something or other?
Is there
No,
is there something we need to know?
I was watching this.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Mom, I hate to tell you, Reels is like TikTok.
okay, so
And so it'll eventually, everything you watch, it has a specific way, and every once in a while it'll give you something slightly out of the zone of what you watch. You're not going to be able to find it.
okay, so here I will show
You
you.
better turn that mic off.